Co-host is Elijah. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe. You guys, what do you think about this meeting with President Trump versus Mamdani? You know, Trump said he's a communist. What type of relationship is he going to have with the newly elected mayor of the largest city in the country? And he is a Muslim. Now, we know what's happening in Dearborn, Michigan. Right now, they're fighting, and American citizens are fighting against Muslim, I believe, citizens, and they're concerned that it's a whole Muslim city, and they think that socialism and stuff is going to be an issue in New York like it is that they feel that's in Dearborn. So anyway, there's a lot of friction going on. Tell us what you think about it, but we're going to go right to the meeting, and we'll react to it after they finish. God is good. Boy, this is incredible.
Very productive meeting. We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well. And I wanted to congratulate the mayor. He really ran an incredible race against a lot of smart people, starting with the early primaries against some very tough people, very smart people. And he beat them easily. And I congratulated him. And we talked about some things in very strong common, like housing and getting housing built, and food and prices, and the price of oil is coming way down. Anything I do is going to be good for New York. If I can get prices down, it's good for New York. And we've got them down, way down from last year. We have, as you know, I've been saying to a lot of people, Walmart said that Thanksgiving this year is exactly 25% less than last year. So that's good for New York, good for everybody. But I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have hopefully a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am, I will say. There's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe New York. And congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Wow.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Please.
I appreciated the meeting with the president, and as he said, it was a productive meeting focused on a place of shared admiration and love, which is New York City, and the need to deliver affordability to New Yorkers, the 8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We spoke about rent, we spoke about groceries, we spoke about utilities, we spoke about the different ways in which people are being pushed out, and I appreciated the time with the president, I appreciated the conversation, I look forward to working together to deliver that affordability for New Yorkers.
Thank you very much. Any questions, please?
President Stephen Nelson from the New York Post. I've got a question for you and then also one for Mayor-elect. For you, you referred to Mr. Mamdani as a communist. Can you describe why you feel that way? And also, will you do anything to stop him from arresting Prime Minister Netanyahu if he visits New York?
Well, we didn't discuss your second part of the question, and on your first part, I mean, he's got views that are a little out there, but who knows? I mean, we're going to see what works, or he's going to change also. We all change. I changed a lot from when I first came to office. It's now quite a while ago. It's quite a while. My first term was great. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We're doing even better now. We're doing much better now than we did even in the first term. And I can tell you some of my views have changed. And we had discussions on some things. I'm not going to discuss what they were, but that I feel very confident that he could do a very good job. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually. And some very liberal people he won't surprise them because they already like him.
And for Mr. Mamdani, it sounds like you had a productive discussion, but just days ago you referred to President Trump as a despot who had betrayed the country. You said you would be his worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve your relationship?
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting. Maybe I think he'll change his mind after we get to working together. Yes, please.
Mr. President, Anthony Mershad from MTV Lebanon. I would like to ask you a question about the Middle East regarding, you did said that Hezbollah in Lebanon is not in a good position, and Lebanon now is the final unresolved after Gaza and Syria. Given your assessment, like what do you say for the Lebanese today? It's the Independence Day in Lebanon, and what is your next move to push toward disarmament, the disarmament of Hezbollah?
Well, we are pushing for total disarmament of Hamas and frankly everybody else. And we actually have peace in the Middle East. As you know, the King of Saudi Arabia just left yesterday. We had some great meetings, and he's made a contribution toward the United States of more than $1 trillion. We have now over $20 trillion coming into. No country has ever had anything like that, not even close. If you go to 2 trillion or 1 trillion, it's a lot. We have 20 or 21 trillion dollars. I think that Hezbollah has been a problem in Lebanon, a big problem. We're working with Lebanon, we're working with everybody in the Middle East. That's another thing I think we have in common. We want to see peace in the Middle East, and we actually have now for the first time peace in the Middle East after 3,000 years. And now we're going to refine it, and I think you're going to see some very positive things happen.
There is a potential to invite the Lebanese president to meet you to the White House.
I would do that, absolutely, and if the mayor would like to be here for that meeting, because I know he feels very strongly. I think you feel very, very strongly about peace in the Middle East.
We desperately want it, and that's something that I shared with the president, that when I spoke to New Yorkers who had voted for the president last November on Hillside Avenue and Fordham Road, I asked them why. I heard again and again two major reasons. One was that they wanted an end to forever wars, they wanted an end to the taxpayer dollars we had funding violations of human rights, and they wanted to address the cost of living crisis. And I appreciated the chance to discuss both of those things.
He said a lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm okay with that.
I have this as well.
I'll do that, I'll sign it. You give it to me, I'll sign it in a minute. That's pretty good.
Mr. President, you've threatened to send federal troops to New York City. You both have differences when it comes to ICE agents in New York City. Mr. Mamdani, you've called ICE a rogue government entity. I wonder how you reconcile your differences on both of those issues.
Well, I think we're going to work them out, and I think that if we have known murderers and known drug dealers and some very bad people, you know, we want to get them out. And the mayor wants to have peace. We discussed this at great length, actually, maybe more than anything else. He wants to have a safe New York. Ultimately, a safe New York is going to be a great New York. If it's not safe, no matter how well we do with pricing and with anything else, we can talk about anything you want. If you don't have safe streets, it's not going to be a success. So we're going to work together. We're going to make sure that if there are horrible people there, we want to get them out. I think he wants to get them out maybe more than I do. So we'll work together. We discussed it at great length. Yes, please.
Yeah, two questions, if I may. One for you, Mr. President, on BBC in a second. But first of all, for the mayor-elect. You're both from different parts of the political spectrum. You're both populists, though, and I just wonder to what extent the president's campaign style, his techniques, his social media use inspired any part of your campaign.
Well, I actually told the president that, you know, so much of the focus of our campaign has been on the cost of living crisis. And when we asked those New Yorkers who had voted for the president, when we saw an increase in his numbers in New York City, that came back to the same issue: cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And they spoke about the cost of groceries, the cost of rent, the cost of Con Ed, the cost of childcare. And too often politicians are looking to lecture to New Yorkers what they should care about as opposed to listen. And when we spoke to those voters who voted for President Trump, we heard them speak about cost of living. We focus on that same cost of living, and that's where I am really looking forward to delivering for New Yorkers in partnership with the president on the affordability agenda.
And I think we have to work a little bit. We talked about Con Edison. We have to work a little bit on getting the prices, because, you know, we've gotten fuel prices way down, but it hasn't shown up in Con Edison. And we're going to have to talk to them. You know, if we're sending them fuel at a much lower price than it was a year ago, which is true, we have to get Con Edison to start lowering their rates.
Absolutely.
And if I may, last week you told me you were pushing ahead with your plans to sue the BBC for up to $5 billion. You're going to speak to Prime Minister Starmer as well. Is there any progress or any updates on those issues?
Well, we get along very well with the Prime Minister. We've made a deal with UK. I like him. He's a fine person, and, you know, I think they have some big energy problems. You know, they've got windmills all over the place. They're going to have to start using other methods because their energy is out of control. Talking about in the UK, it's out of control. And he's got that problem. He's got a big immigration problem, as you know, and he's got a big energy problem. And we talk about, he's a good man. Prime Minister's a good man.
You had a chance to speak this week.
I haven't spoken this week.
Have you spoken to President Zelensky, or do you intend to meet with President Zelensky about your plan? Are you going to meet with him?
I've spoken with their people. We have a plan. It's horrible what's happening. It's a war that should have never happened. It would have never happened if I was president, and it's a shame. And I thought they should have acted quicker. But it's a cold winter, and a lot of the you talk about utilities, but a lot of the big energy producing plants have been under attack, to put it mildly, to put it nicely. Yeah, we have a way of getting peace, or we think we have a way of getting peace. He's gonna have to approve it. Just so sad, so many people. You know, last month they lost 25,000 soldiers. This is something, we haven't seen anything like this since the Second World War. And they're averaging 6,000 or 7,000 a week between the two of them, dead soldiers. And it goes on and on, and I think they're getting reasonably close, but I don't want to predict. I would have said that would have been one of my early ones. I did 8 peace deals with countries, including in India, Pakistan. You could even go, in fact, they're coming here in a week or two, go to the Congo and Rwanda. That was 10 million people dead, and we worked something out on that, but so many. And the one I thought would have been, for me, because I have a very good relationship with President Putin, I thought that would have been maybe quicker, but it does take 2 to tango. And now you just see all the death. And you know, it doesn't affect us other than the fact that we don't want to see all those people. That really, it's on the other side of the ocean. It's a war that should have never happened. It did happen. I blame the person also sitting right behind this desk. This is a war that should have never happened, and it wouldn't have happened if I were president. But we're trying to save a lot of lives. They're losing 25, think of that, 25,000 lives over the last short period of time. That's Ukrainian and Russian, and it's a shame.
I want to ask the mayor-elect about a House resolution just passed overwhelmingly to condemn socialism, including with 86 Democrats, all of House Dem leadership, and the minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, despite his endorsement of you. What's your reaction to that?
I have to be honest with you, I focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing.
Condemn socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
And I want to clarify your answer to Stephen Nelson. He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist. And your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about.
That's okay, you can just say yes, though. Okay? It's easier. It's
Yes.
easier than explaining it, I don't mind.
And Mr. President, I wanted to ask you also about this Ukraine plan. President Zelensky said today that his country would risk either giving up a partner or giving up its dignity. There's been criticism that this deal proposal.
He doesn't like it?
It's unclear. He was sort of tenuous about
He'll
it.
have to like it, and if he doesn't like it, then, you know, they should just keep fighting, I guess, you
The
know?
suggestion that he made, though, was that if he doesn't accept it, that the U.S. would pull back its support for Ukraine. Is that
Well, at some
accurate?
point, he's gonna have to accept something, you know, he hasn't accepted. You remember right in the Oval Office, not so long ago, I said, you don't have the cards. Don't forget, I inherited this war. I would have never, this war never would have happened. I inherited this war. And I thought he should have made a deal a year ago, 2 years ago. The ultimate deal would have been if it never started. That would have been a good deal. That could have been done too if you had the right president, but you didn't have the right president.
Mr. President, the cost of living is something that you and Mr. Mamdani seem to agree on. Democrats have run New York City for a long time, Mr. Mamdani. Do you see Democrat policy specifically as being a problem? And I'd like that be a question that both of you could answer in New York City.
Look, I think that there are many things in our city where we have to own the responsibility of it, things that existed long before the president was the president. And those are also part of the message of our campaign, was to take on a broken politics of the past. and I ran against a number of candidates who represented different versions of that past. And what we found time and again is that working people were left behind in the politics of our city. And what we're looking to do is put those people right back at the heart of our politics so that we don't have a situation where we're in the wealthiest city in the history of the world, and yet 1 in 5 can't even afford $2.90 for a Metro card.
Mr. Mamdani?
You know, we had some interesting conversation, and some of his ideas really are the same ideas that I have. But a big thing on cost, you know, the new word is affordability. Another word is just groceries. You know, it's sort of an old-fashioned word, but it's very accurate. And they're coming down high. They were, you know, we had, both of us, we had the highest inflation in the history of our country the last 4 years under the Biden administration. And we've got inflation down now to a normal number. It's going to go even a little bit lower than that. Katie, do you have something?
Mr. President, thank you so much. Mr. Mamdani often talks about New York City being covered by international law, that they will follow international law. Doesn't often talk about the U.S. Constitution. What is your response to that?
Well, I don't know what you're referring to in terms of it can be covered by international law and local law. It's covered by a lot of laws, but it's covered by U.S. law. Are you referring to anything in particular?
He just says that they're a city that endorses and enforces international law. Is that at odds with
No,
U.S.
I don't
law?
know. Would you want to respond?
Yeah, I think what I've shared with the president is our desire to not only follow the laws of our own city, laws that protect New Yorkers, but also a desire for consistency in our politics across the board. And that's something that we've talked about and something that I know many New Yorkers want.
We were precise. We were precise.
We discussed ICE and New York City, and I spoke about how the laws that we have in New York City allow for New York City government to speak to the federal administration for about 170 serious crimes. The concerns that many New Yorkers have are around the enforcement of immigration laws on New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs. And most recently, we're talking about a mother and her 2 children, how this has very little to do with what that is.
Mr.
What we did
Mamdani?
is we discussed crime, more than ICE per se. We discussed crime, and he doesn't want to see crime, and I don't want to see crime. And I have very little doubt that we're not going to get along on that issue. He wants to, and he said some things that were very interesting as to housing construction, and he wants to see houses go up. He wants to see a lot of houses created, a lot of apartments built, etc. And you know, we actually, people would be shocked, but I want to see the same thing.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters.
Jack?
Mr. President, I want to know, one of the policies as well that Mayor-elect Mamdani talked a number of times about on the campaign was shifting the tax burden for property taxes from what he called minority communities to white-based communities and putting more taxes on white people. I also noticed that in your acceptance speech, you didn't mention anything about America or Christians or white people in general. And so I didn't know if that was one of the policies that you guys had spoken about.
We focused on affordability, we focused on the cost of living crisis. What I will say is that I am very much interested in property tax reform because what we see right now in New York City is a system that is so inequitable that it can't even stand up in court. And the president and I spoke about the importance of not only building more housing, but also making sure that regulation of housing is something that is manageable to actually get through and not the cause of yet another wave that we see in
But
our
to be
city.
clear, you're continuing this idea of race-based property taxes.
No, to be very clear,
That's what you said.
no, the use of the term was a description of neighborhoods, not a description of intent.
So you intend to tax the whiter neighborhoods more?
No, we intend to create a fair property tax system because we want a New York City that is not only fair and equitable, but also one that every New Yorker can afford.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters.
Please go ahead.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters just targeted a synagogue in New York. Are you concerned about Jewish New Yorkers feeling welcome and safe in the city? And President Trump, you've threatened to cut off federal funding to New York City. What policies would prompt you to do that? Would that be city-run grocery stores? Would it be something else?
Well, I think if we didn't get along, whether it's cut off or just make it a little bit difficult or not give as much, we want to see, I use the term, we don't want good money going after bad. And we don't want that to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I did say, subject to what policies are being said. We had a meeting today that actually surprised me. He wants to see no crime. He wants to see housing being built. He wants to see rents coming down, all things that I agree with. Now, we may disagree how we get there. The rent coming down, I think One of the things I really gleaned very much today, he'd like to see him come down ideally by building a lot of additional housing.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate way. He agrees with that, and so do I. But if I read the newspapers and the stories, I don't hear that. But I heard him say it today, and I think that's a very positive step. No, I don't expect, I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. A big help, because I want New York City to be great. Look, I love New York City, it's where I come from. I spent a lot of years there, now I'm right here. We took a big setback with the mayor that we had, Dave de Blasio. I thought it was a tremendous setback for the city. I think this mayor can do some things that are gonna be really great.
Mr. President, Mr. President,
Mr. President, I hear you.
Thank you, Mr. President. You're a billionaire. You have a different address nowadays than you used to, but you used to call New York City home. Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would, especially after the meeting, absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I think I want him to do a great job, and we'll help him do a great job. You know, he may have different views, but in many ways, you know, we were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race, I picked up a lot of his votes, and people had no idea, because he was strong on not getting ripped off in trade and lots of the things that I've practiced and been very successful on. Tariffs, a lot of things. Bernie Sanders and I agreed on much more than people thought. And when he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly, if you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And I felt very comfortable, frankly, in seeing that and saying that. And, you know, it just turned out to be a statistical truth. But, no, I feel very comfortable. I would feel very, very comfortable being in New York, and I think much more so after the meeting. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question for you, but a very quick one for the mayor. Why did you fly here? Aren't trains greener?
I'll use every form of transit, and I want to make sure that they're all affordable in New York City, and that's why making buses fast and free is a central piece of work.
Did you?
There is a bus that goes.
No, but I know, but it'd be fluid. That's a lot quicker too. You know, I mean, he's working very hard for him to be. That's a very long drive. I'll stick up for you. You know, the plane takes you 30 minutes and driving takes you a
And
long
Mr.
time.
President, I was wondering if you could clear up some confusion around a Washington Post report. There was this explosive report that the Coast Guard is no longer going to characterize swastikas and nooses as hate symbols. DHS called that a lie and fake news. Can you clear up?
I don't know anything about it. When was this written?
I think yesterday.
Well, look, the Coast Guard's an incredible group of people. I know very well. We just ordered a lot of new Coast Guard cutters, beautiful, the most magnificent ship. They look like yachts with lots of guns on them. So I don't know, I haven't seen any report like that, but certainly we want them to remain a great force, and they are.
And you did a piece in all the 9 months around the world. I would like to ask Mr. Mamdani, you've accused the US government of committing genocide in Gaza while President Trump was working on peace. Why that?
I've spoken about the Israeli government committing genocide, and I've spoken about our government funding it. And I shared with the president in our meeting about the concern that many New Yorkers have of wanting their tax dollars to go towards the benefit of New Yorkers and their ability to afford basic dignity. And what we see right now is we're in the 9th consecutive year of more than 100,000 school children being homeless in our city. And there's a desperate need not only for the following of human rights, but also the following through on the promises we've made New Yorkers. And I appreciated the meeting we had and the work that we can do.
I think that President Trump did do a peace and work hard to make the peace, because he worked hard to do the peace in the Middle East and everywhere. Do you agree with that?
I appreciate all efforts towards peace, and I shared with President Trump that when I spoke to Trump voters on Hillside Avenue, including one of whom was a pharmacist that spoke about how President Trump's father actually went to that pharmacy not too far from Jamaica Estates, that people were tired of seeing our tax dollars fund endless wars. And I also believe that we have to follow through on the international human rights, and I know that still today those are being violated, and that continues to be work that has to be done no matter where we're speaking of.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President. Do you view the mayor-elect as a true leader of the Democrat Party? And do you think Leader Schumer is a leader that can have to follow his lead?
Well, look, I hope they have great leaders. This is a man that right now I think is focused in New York City. I really think he has a chance to do a great job. We're going to help him, but I really think he has a chance to do a great job. But I'll let you answer that. Do you consider yourself the leader of the Democrats? I think it's more appropriate for him.
I consider myself the next mayor of New York City, and I keep my horizons firmly on New York City, and I appreciate the meeting with the president, which focused again on the 5 boroughs and whether New Yorkers could afford to live there.
By the way, being the mayor of New York City is a big deal.
Absolutely.
I always said, one of the things I would love to be someday is the mayor of New York City. Being the mayor of New York, and especially now, because I think you're at really a turning point, one way or the other. You can go great, or it can go in a different direction, and I think you really have a chance to make it great.
Mr. President, you said you love New York City. Mr. Mamdani, does New York City love President Trump?
New York City loves a future that is affordable, and I can tell you that there were more New Yorkers who voted for President Trump in the most recent presidential election because of that focus on cost of living, and I'm looking forward to working together to deliver on that affordability agenda.
I got a lot of votes. One more, go ahead, 1 or 2 more, go ahead. I tell you, the press has eaten this thing up. I've had a lot of meetings with the heads of major countries, nobody cared. This meeting that you people have gone crazy, outside you have hundreds of people waiting. This is just a small little group. For some reason, the press has found this to be a very interesting meeting. The biggest people in the world, they come over from countries nobody cares. But they did care about this meeting, and it was a great meeting. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. President, I was gonna ask you exactly that. Why do you think there's so much more, so much excitement around this than even some forum?
Because I think he's different. All right, I think he's different, and that can be in a very positive way, but I think he's different than, your typical guy, runs, wins, becomes mayor maybe, and nothing exciting. Because he has a chance to really do something great for New York. New York is at a very critical point, and he does need the help of the federal government to really succeed, and we're gonna be helping him. But he's different than, your average candidate. He came out of nowhere. I said, he has a great campaign manager standing over there. He came out of nowhere. What'd you start off at 1 or 2? And then I watched. I said, who is this guy? He was at 1, then he was at 3, then he was at 5, then he was at 9. Then he went up to 17. I said, that's getting a little bit interesting, right? And then all of a sudden he wins a primary that nobody expected he was going to win. It's a great tribute. I mean, it's an amazing thing that he did.
And I'll just add one thing to what the president said. Is one thing I also appreciated is in our meeting to appreciate a portrait of FDR and the incredible work that was done with the New Deal, and also in thinking about what it can look like when the federal government and New York City government work together to deliver on affordability. It can be transformative.
We have a great portrait of FDR that I found in the vaults. That was missing for years. I found it, and I put it up. He's a Democrat, to the best of my knowledge. He's a Democrat. And when the mayor saw that portrait, he said, "Sir, do you mind if I have a picture taken by that portrait?" It's an amazing portrait. I hope the picture comes out good. But it's an amazing portrait in the Cabinet Room. So he's a big fan of the New Deal, I guess, and of FDR. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said that you both spoke about crime. There are many police officers set to come off the rolls at the end of this year in New York City. Are you going to allow those police to be replaced with police officers, actual cops? And are you going to require that happens? Would there be some consequence if the
Well, I hope it
staff?
happens, but again, it's going to be ultimately the mayor's decision.
What's your answer?
Is that I look forward to delivering public safety with the NYPD, and I've said over the course of our campaign that we have the number of police officers today. They're the ones that's budgeted about 35,000 head count. And I think the key thing is that we have to make it easier for police to focus on police work, not ask them to respond to 200,000 mental health calls a year.
So is that a reduction from what you're at right now? Or are you committing to maintaining the same level of cops?
I've committed over the course of the campaign to maintain the 35,000. That's the head count that we have through the
And
campaign.
not replace them with caseworkers, social workers?
No, I've said that's the head count that we want. What we need to do is make sure they can focus on serious crime.
And he just retained a great police commissioner, I believe, right?
Yes,
If
yes, we did, Commissioner Fish.
If the newspapers are correct.
That was correct about.
He retained, I think, somebody that is she's a good friend of some of the people in my family, of Ivanka, and they say she's really good, really competent, and he just retained her, so that's a good sign.
Are there still topics that you see the two of you disagreeing on in the future? And do you think you'll have more meetings like this?
There will be topics that we disagree on. I think we'll probably come to a conclusion, and ultimately, he'll convince me, or I'll convince him. It's for the good of New York. Ultimately, it's for the good of New York. I don't care about affiliations or parties or anything else. I want to see if this city could be unbelievable, if he could be a spectacular success, I'd be very happy.
Do you think you guys will meet more in the future too?
See?
Do you think you'll meet again in the future, throughout the administration?
I think we will. I think we will. I hope we do. I enjoyed the meeting. We had a great meeting. Please.
Mr. President, Republican Elise Stefanik has campaigned multiple times by calling Zohran Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now in the Oval Office?
No, I don't, but she's out there campaigning, and you know, you say things sometimes in a campaign.
Isn't that sort of
She's a very capable person, but you really have to ask her about that. But I don't particularly. I think I met with a man who's a very rational person. I met with a man who really wants to see New York be great again. And I can say again, because New York was great. You know, when I came down to Washington initially, the city was so hot. It was doing great. We were having some telltale signs of problems. We had a mayor that was not doing a great job, but still, it was moving along. And it went bad. It really went, pretty bad. And I think it's been at lower points, but it went pretty bad. I think he can bring it back. Now the question is, will he bring it back all the way? Will he bring it back greater than ever before? Which is, I guarantee, that's his wish. I think he wants to make it greater than ever before. And if he can, we'll be out there cheering. I'll be cheering for him. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you chose not to answer the question about sitting on.
Thank you very much.
Wow, they have many more questions. That went unexpectedly because yesterday, his press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, was saying she was calling him a communist. And she has the ears of the president, so she's not going to say anything to the press during that briefing that was not okay by the President of the United States of America. So I find it ironic. Today, it's seemingly like they're best friends, and like Trump is like, oh, he's a great guy, he's this, and they're asking different questions, and they're even asking about the police department, because we all know that Mamdani is not in favor of ICE by no means. He said that people shouldn't be, I think, locked up. He thinks that it's a waste of time. He feels as though that we need social workers. We do need social workers, because cops should not have to handle mental illness, but you still need a volume of cops to fight against crime. And since New York is a sanctuary city, then you have a lot of non-citizens that are there that are not following the law of the land, because they are not made to. They are allowed to be lawlessness, and they're allowed to behave any type of way, because remember, they would catch them, they would lock them up for a minute, and they release them. It was like catch and release, catch and release. They could kick a cop in the head, and we all saw maybe 2 hours later, they're walking free, flipping the reporters. So, if you don't teach people who are coming into the country that they have to follow the law of the United States of America, then they won't. So I don't know what's going to go on. I know that if he does not deliver the promises he made to those New Yorkers about free bus rides, which they said the mayor really doesn't have the power to do. They said him as assemblyman had more power than as mayor. If he doesn't deliver on freezing the rent, if he doesn't deliver, now he wants to, I think with the grocery stores, he wants, I don't know if he wants the city to run it, or anyway, he wants to take that over. So the things that he has promised and the things he's saying that he's going to do, and remember, he used the word free. Nothing gets younger people attention more than the word free. When he said free bus fare, and then he also said, I'm skipping show, but he said free bus fare, and he made a lot of other promises. But getting to who's supposed to pay for it, he said he wanted to tax the billionaires. Guess what? The billionaires are leaving the city. The millionaires are going to leave the city. People who are rich are not stuck. They're not like everyday people that they can't move and relocate. They have other homes and other places they can live at. So before that, they are taxed at extreme rates for people who are less fortunate. They're going to leave. And right now, the companies are leaving now. They're going to Florida. They're leaving right now. So they are not going to stay. I was watching a news program, and it was one business owner. He was going to expand in New York, but now since the new elected mayor and the things that he's proposing, I guess it will help his building wealth. He's not going to expand. So he said he's going to leave the 2 restaurants so far that he has here, but he's going to expand in Florida. He's not going to expand in New York. And the others, they're relocating their businesses, period, because who's going to stay and all your hard work? And a lot of these people are self-made millionaires. They work from the ground up. They're not going to stay and foot the bill for others, and you just want to tax them like they're the federal government, I guess. They're not going to stay. They're going to go. If I was a millionaire and something like that happened, and I worked hard all my life to become a millionaire, I'm a self-made millionaire, it wasn't given to me, I most definitely don't want my hard-earned money going towards people that have not worked as hard as I have. And they're just going to take it away. And the harder I work, the more you're going to take away from me. I'm not going to stay because we already taxed by other means. So they're leaving. And once they leave, the jobs are leaving. The supermarkets are leaving. Most of the stores are on lockdown because lawlessness is allowed to happen in New York City. They rob everything. They're stealing everything. The stores can't leave anything out on the counters. They walk right in. They take it as a misdemeanor. If they catch them, they release them. So they're putting a lot of businesses out of business in New York. They can't stop them from stealing. And the cops, that they don't have the manpower to answer all these crimes. So they just continue to do what they want to do. And that's what's going on in New York. And it's been allowed. So what do you guys think about the meeting with Trump? Do you think that they are getting along, or is this a different Trump than what we've been hearing? Because Trump has been calling him out. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you. That's supposed to be president? Well, anyway, just like how what you talked about, you should not keep what you earn. Yeah, well, anyway, like most people, if I go to my job, I don't want, like I'm already paying taxes, I don't expect to take my money and you want to take more from me. So the more overtime I work, the more you're going to take from me. So I'm not earning more. I'm not making more money. I'm just working harder. I'm just tiring myself out. I'm just spending less time with my family. So, what's the point of working that hard if it's going to be taken away from you? And that's probably how a lot of them are going to look at it. They have a choice. They have a choice to stay or to leave. They're not on lockdown. And I believe, and it's already been said, that they're going to leave. They are not going to stay there. Would you? Would any of you stay? Would you stay? And this is the mindset? Exactly right. Trump baby. How you say Trump 2020? That's in the past. Middle and lower class protecting the wealthy is wild. And people have to look at is that the wealthy are the ones that's providing the jobs, they're providing the business, providing employment. If they leave, then guess what happens? The employment stops because now they no longer reside in that city. So the wealth is walking out of the door. So if you already told them this is what you're going to do, the wealth is going to walk away. It's going to walk away. So it has to be other ways that money can go further, and that's bringing more businesses inside the city. That's like it's the opposite is going on. Businesses leaving is going to be a downfall for New York City. It's not an upbeat, it's a downfall. It should be a welcoming city because it's the largest city in the United States of America. Everyone should want to go to New York, but the opposite is happening right now. The opposite is happening. They're not going to stay. If they don't stay, then you're just going to have the poor and perhaps the middle class. But you need to be a millionaire to live in New York because the rent is over the top. It's like living in California. with less space, or maybe the same. Give me a break. Let's see. How was that? Poor billionaires. Someone please think of the billionaires. Yeah, the only thing with the billionaires, I see what you're saying, Jack. One thing with the billionaires, you can't tax them if they're not there. You can't tax the billionaires if they leave. You can't provide jobs and employment. Those are their companies. If they leave, then what's going to happen? How is Mamdani, the plan, going to transpire, even if he means well, if people are choosing to leave rather than to stay? That's the dilemma. You know, the dilemma, how you going to, I think the main thing that they should be trying to do is get the billionaires to stay if you want New York to continue to be productive, provide jobs, and to grow. But you got to get a handle on the crime. You got to get a handle on the lawlessness. People have to follow the law. You can't pick and choose what laws you're going to follow. That's life. You know, if you become an American citizen, or if you're not American and you're bringing your culture over here, you need to learn about American culture and what's expected of you as living in this country, because it's going to come back to bite you if you don't learn. Because Americans are not allowed to break the law, and neither are they. But it's been going on. So they got to get a hold of this city. But Mamdani, he's not into, I guess he doesn't come off. It's like he's concerned about non-citizens following the law. He believes that they are being mistreated if they follow the law. Like, apply for your citizenship, your certificate of naturalization, go through the process, then come back. They have choices.
I don't trust that guy.
Who?
Mamdani.
I know, but it's not going to turn out. If they already have shown how these are facts. Fact check everything. Go to Google, go to ChatGPT. They're already showing that these people, the billionaires, are leaving in droves. The millionaires are leaving. If they leave, then what is Mamdani going to be able to do if the businesses leave? So you should have a plan, Mamdani, to keep them there and to bring more billionaires into New York and show them that this is the place you want to be. This is where you'll prosper. This is where your companies will continue to grow. That's called business. Nobody's going into business to be taken down. They go into business to continue to prosper. No, they aren't. The numbers didn't support. But didn't support the claim. What did Jack say? Read that.
He's replying to someone.
Oh. Yeah, this is going to be a battle. I think that people are going to understand the power of the billionaires being in New York, and when they remove their companies, how's the federal government going to compensate, and plus all the things that Mamdani has promised to his constituents? How is he going to come through if the money's not there? If he's incapable of giving them free bus fares off the billionaires if they're not there? They got to be there. You got to have them or give them incentive to stay. Right now, they're all heading to Florida with DeSantis. They're going to Florida. You know, that's what they're doing. I think people are going to have a rude awakening what New York becomes, because they are the ones that's keeping New York going. They're the ones that have the jobs and the companies and stuff.
What I'm worried about is his take on police officers.
You worry about his take on police officers?
New York City, that's very dangerous.
It's already dangerous before the illegals. I mean, you really need to have the police officers and support them to a certain degree. You don't want the bad cops, but you need cops there that's going to keep law and order.
Are you saying like you want like social workers or something like that?
Well, you need because cops shouldn't be, they don't know how to handle mental illness. When they go to a mental illness call, they don't know how to handle. They treat them like they don't have mental illness, and a lot of times the people sometimes wind up losing their lives because the cops they're ill-equipped to handle those type of calls. But you need them and the cops.
Yeah, he said he wanted to replace cops with something.
Well, he can't replace them.
Yeah.
He should add on to them. All we can do is wait and see
That's
Mamdani mess up, then New York will vote them out. Yeah, that it's coming because he's only been a citizen. Y'all have to remember, Mamdani is a newly citizen of the United States of America. He just received his certificate of naturalization 7 years ago. So he's not even American indoctrinated. He does not understand us. He's coming from where he came from. That's why he's a socialist. He's saying what he is. He put Democrat in front of it. He's a socialist. And he's bringing his culture to New York City. And they look at it in England and other places where they have the Muslim leaders that they have failed. So people say, well, we've already seen what has been happening around the world. We already did a video. We took it down because we didn't get a whole lot of views about Dearborn, Michigan, where you have Americans are fighting against because it's predominantly Muslim city in Dearborn, Michigan. And it's a mess going on there. They're going at each other. The mayor say that he'll throw a parade for some of those Americans to leave his city and all this. It's like, it's crazy.
He was talking crap about billionaires. What happened with billionaires?
If you was a millionaire, you would not be talking crap about me. You know what? It's like, I'm not a millionaire, and you could talk crap about anybody you want to. Now, the millionaires are leaving as well. See, when you have money, unlike everyday people that have everyday jobs, and they depend on a billionaire providing a job or a millionaire providing a job from their company, they're not stuck. They could go live on their islands. They can fly their jets. They could go get on their yachts. They don't have the same concerns as us. And a lot of these people are self-made millionaires, self-made billionaires. They were not born into money. So they have choices. They're not in prison. If they stay, great. But what I'm saying is that they're not stuck. They don't have to. They can pick up and leave, and that's what they're doing.
And someone said, if you think helping people is socialism, then Christianity is socialism.
You know what? I guess they're talking to other people on there. A lot of times they're talking to each other because that's what he labeled himself. And socialism or whatever, that's the culture they came from. It didn't work there. So now you bring what didn't work there to over here to the United States. And that's what you're doing. Okay? So it's not going to work. I'll just predict it now because if the people leave, then he can't accomplish what he's trying to accomplish. Unlike where he comes from or whatever, maybe they stayed and maybe whatever happened. That's why they left where they are. That's the whole reason why people left these countries and try to come here. But now you're bringing your culture here. You're not adapting to our culture. You're bringing your culture here, your socialism here, your communist ways here. So they don't believe in capitalism, so they're bringing it here. But here, you have free thinkers in America. They're just not going to stay. They don't have to. They're not going to stay. And he can't succeed if they leave. He can't succeed if he doesn't support the cops. He can't succeed if he doesn't support ICE. You got everybody going there that have committed crimes. They have protections there. So, you know, you're not supporting the people. And it's going to be a result of all of it. But I think that he's going to come to terms and he's going to see, because he hasn't been here 7 years. He's like he's a 7-year-old. He's a 7-year-old. How much do a 7-year-old knows? He hasn't been here long enough to understand what it is to be an American. He doesn't understand us yet. He understands his culture and where he comes from. That's what he understands, his mother, father, and his family traditions. That's what he understands. But he hasn't been here no longer than a 7-year-old. And how much do they know? You know, we're going to find out. So I guess, is the Democrat Party becoming a socialist party?
Yeah.
Is that it? Or have the Democrats become socialists?
Yeah. and said all he's gonna do is try to force his culture onto the people.
That's what's happening, and they don't understand it. There's a lot of things he has said vocally that it went over your heads. He's saying a lot, but we're not listening. We're not listening. I don't know his true conversation with Trump, but I'm quite sure it was more intense than the way they came off with the media. Because Trump in front of the cameras and Trump behind the scenes are two different people. I sorely believe in that. They are two different people. So Trump already I'm quite sure Trump already ran it down to him what he will do. Trump already told him. I don't even know if he threatened him, but I know he made himself clear that when he going to step in if things are looking like on murky waters, Trump is going to step in because he loves New York. That's his city. He loves New York. Trump is not going to sit back and watch New York crumble under his leadership. So Trump, I know Trump has already made that clear to him. Trump has been complaining about it the whole time this man's been running for office. So we're going to wait and see. We're going to wait and find out what happens. And I got an event to go to, so I got to jump off of this. But I had to put this up. You guys, let's get those likes up to 100. Get them up to 100. We're going to see. We're going to be following Mamdani. We're going to follow Mamdani. I think that's how you say his name. We're going to follow him. And we're going to see what, after he's sworn in, because he's not sworn in yet, he's mayor-elect. Once he's sworn in, and then he has the responsibility of New York. He already doesn't have the support of the governor. The governor is saying no free buses, so the governor is not even going along with it. So we're going to find out. I hope he does well. I love New York. Everybody loves New York. We want New York to be successful, but we got to look at reality in the eyes, and we're going to find out one way or another if he succeeds or if he fails. But you got to give him a chance.
Military.
You got to give him a chance.
Military vet and fodder. Trump is the most transparent president we've ever had. He tells it like it is, whether it hurts your feelings or not. So we have a good idea of who Trump is and his policies and what he's trying to do to America.
I can't wait to see what's going to happen. But hey, I know one thing about it. Trump is the president, and he only going to allow, but he got a short leash on Mamdani. So I know Trump is only going to allow, but so much to go on. But I think that if those businesses leave New York, it's going to crush the city. It's going to crush it. Y'all can't make people stay and spend their money there. They can leave.
This shows like how much Mamdani is a problem that they have a meet up with the president.
Yeah, he had for a mayor to have a meetup with the president, and it's on the news, and everybody waiting to see it. Because just yesterday, his press secretary Caroline Leavitt called him a communist. They called him a communist, and today you would think that was never said. So,
Yeah.
It's okay, but Trump knows you want to get along with everyone, even your enemies. You got to get along with people. So, Trump he had that tough conversation with him. Trust him on that. He had that conversation with him, but we will see. We will be watching. We hope he does well. But I think if you're the mayor of the largest city in the nation, you need to have a plan to incite these billionaires to stay and not to leave. You need to incite those multi-millionaires that keep your city running to stay. You got to give them a reason to stay. Right now, you're giving them every reason to leave. And they can. And they can. They can. They not like everyday people like us. Like you have your house, that's it. No, they got several mansions.
Like you said, now it truly is Gotham without Batman.
Yeah, it's going to be Gotham City without Batman.
I guess Trump is Batman.
Trump is Batman?
Yeah.
Who's Robin? JD?
Yeah, JD.
JD is Robin. Yeah. I guess, that's a whole nother story. But anyway, you can read hers and I'm going to get off because I got to get ready to get out of here. There are all really, go ahead.
They have already one party pretending to hate each other. They doing all these distractions so we don't realize what the Bitcoin deal really is.
Well, it's so much going on in this country. It's hard to keep up with, but we're particularly focused on Mamdani and Trump and the future of New York City. Like, what's the future of New York City? He doesn't have the support of the governor, and Trump is not going to go along with the nonsense. He's not going to do it. We already see how Trump behaves. And according to Trump past behaviors, he's not going to go along with the nonsense. He's not. He's not.
Someone said Trump caved to him.
Yeah, don't get that twisted. Trump's sitting on a lot of power as president. Yeah. There's a whole different side that he don't show. He's trying to show that he gets along with people.
He moved those guys out the way and fixed.
Hey. Remember, Trump did that meeting, and he moved them out the way. Trump is the big dog on campus. He's a little puppy. Mamdani is a little puppy. He's at the kids' table. He's a mayor. He's not even he's not even a governor. So he's a chihuahua. So Trump watch. Trump is not playing with him when it comes to New York. He's already proven that. So there's only but so much Mamdani is going to be able to do before Trump steps in. If it starts going sour and everything starts falling and the billionaires continue to leave and the millionaires continue to leave and employment rate continue to rise and lawlessness takes over the city, Trump is going to step in. So he's going to give him a chance. He's like, let's see, I want you to succeed. Let's see. Trump, like he said, he wouldn't even run for president if they were governing this country properly or whatever. He would have never have run for president. So.
Yeah. It's like keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what he's doing right now. But you guys, I got an event to go to. I got to jump off. Thanks, you guys. Don't forget to hit. Come on, y'all, get the lights up.
That's Frank. He said YouTube changed his handle.
Why?
Moderator? I don't know.
They did what?
They changed it to that Pesimico.
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
A lot of stuff is going on with YouTube right now. I just got off a YouTube Zoom call, talking to other coaches and stuff, more about what's the new changes of YouTube. But, I'm going to ask them on the next meeting I have, like, are they doing this to people, like changing your handle?
That's crazy.
Did someone else have your handle?
Yeah, that was Frank the Eagle, I think. What's the guy's name?
I don't know.
Or Frank.
Oh, you in California, Jack? Okay. Yeah, I wonder, we got to find out. I don't know if they're doing that. The question is why we ain't have dinner yet. Oh, okay. Call me. But I got a big event to go to. I got to change my clothes. I got to get out of here. I had a long, busy day. I hit the gym. I did everything. And this has been like run. But now I got to get dressed. I got to get ready. I'm hitting another city. And, got to get out of here. But thanks, guys. Hey, Jack, you got to tell us more what's going on in California next time we jump on here. I don't know. Normally, we don't do lives on the weekend. If something jump off, we'll do a live. But usually Monday through Friday that we'll come on. So turn on that notification so you don't miss anything. And let us know what you think about Mamdani. What you think about this meeting with Trump. Do you think that they're not sharing what really went down behind closed doors? Because it was not an open meeting. When they came, they act like they were best buds.
God bless you too.
So, what do you guys think? Do you think Mamdani's going to be able to accomplish the things he promised the New Yorkers? Do you think the New Yorkers are going to flip out because he's not going to be able to keep those promises?
No problem, man.
And do you think they need to have incentives for the billionaires? So those are questions that needs to be answered.
How long do mayors run, like the office?
I think, what is it, mayors? Is it every 4 years, like the president?
Dang, that's a long
Is it every 4 years, you guys? I think they're mayor for 4 years.
Dang, he could do a lot.
He could do a lot of damage or a lot of good in 4 years. Yeah, he could change the whole scope of New York in 4 years. It's like, I don't even go to New York like ever since a lot of that stuff been going on. I love New York, but look.
Ever since Joe Biden.
Yeah, I haven't even been going to New York because I don't know what, they allow people to do whatever they want to there. So I'm not crazy about New York right now. Later, and have a great day. Later, you guys. God bless. Peace out. Let's get those likes up, you guys. Come on now. It costs you nothing to hit a like. You You always can super chat us, you know, if it's in your heart sometimes, y'all. But God bless you guys. Take care. And see y'all next time. And yeah, dinner, we'll see. Bye.